Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome to a special edition here on the TV Terminal. My name's Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at the Koalition.com.
My name is Lawerence, aka a Punk with Toys on all the socials.
With the OGs of the channel, people. There's a lot of faces, but we are the OGs here, just so you know. But
what is our channel? Technically, it's your channel, but we started it.
We started together. We high five, and when it blows up and we surpass everyone else, we share in the glory. So just so you know, that's how this works, people. But
in the tens of dollars that YouTube will pay us.
Gazillions of tens of dollars, tons of pennies. But overall, people, real quick, thanks for the likes, the subs, the hypes. We see the numbers go up, and it's always great. You know, maybe not everybody wants to comment. That's fine. Sometimes you just watch. I'm like, okay, I get it, and then you move on. That's great. You know, it all counts in the metrics for us. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Thank you. Definitely in regards to Marshall's, because it was iffy on the reaction. We saw that even not here, but just Rotten Tomato, Metacritic, everybody. It's all over the place. But people, hey, are checking it out. They're commenting, and we want to thank you. Thank you for that. But if you're familiar with our content, if you're familiar with us talking about the shows that we were looking to cover, Madison was on that list. Now, this is a limited series.
And then it just showed up.
There you go. That's what I was just going to get at. Yeah, you know, part of the press, I get emails from all these networks. Nothing from Paramount on this one. Lauren sends me a message. Hey, I just watched 3 episodes of Madison. I'm like, why is this guy lying to me? Why does he lie all the time? And I was like, no, sure enough, it is posted. They just like stealth dropped it. They just, yeah, there you go. 3 episodes.
3 episodes on the 14th, and then the next 3 episodes are on the 21st.
Really? They're not even spreading them out?
I thought that it's
I thought it was just
from what I can tell here. I got IMDb here. There's 12 episodes right now, so I go look at the episode list. Let's see here. Episode 4, 5, and 6 all on the 21st, and then you go into season 2. And there's no dates, but it does say 20. It does say 26 still for the first 3 episodes. So weird way to roll it out.
Very weird. And because of that, we decided, you know what, are we going to cover this still? You know what, let's just do it. So this is a different approach. It's not going to be a long form. You'll see it in the title. It's not going to say breakdown. This is just a review from episode 1 and 3. We watched all 3 episodes and to give our thoughts, the pros, the cons. Should you just go and watch it now and binge the 3 episodes? You know, so I have my issues. So how do you want to start? Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start about?
So it was my idea to cover this because I said to you, hey, you know what? Do you want to just talk about this for like a half hour? Just give a little bit, because I actually messaged you and I was on my way to the gym, and this was yesterday, and I was like, man, I just watched the Madison, and there's going to be spoilers. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, here's what I'm going to tell you right now. In my opinion. All right. If you say you're going to watch it, if you watch the first episode and want to quit, I'm going to say don't. At least watch the first 3 episodes, because you are going to be shocked within the first 20 minutes of this that may actually make you mad. But I think you have to watch it out. So I watch it, all 3 episodes, and I think that was smart on their part. So anyway, I watched it. I messaged you. I had about 12 minutes to go. And I'm like, I had to get to the gym and get it done. And this was yesterday. And I said, hey, did you see the Madison dropped? And I said, I made it I have like 15 minutes to go or whatever. It might be the saddest show I've ever watched from the beginning. And we've all seen the reviews, or we've all seen the previews. Here comes spoiler alert. I'm telling you right now, shut it off if you don't want to know. But Kurt Russell and his brother Matthew Fox, another big actor from Lost and Party of Five.
He was the doctor, if you remember.
That's his brother. So Preston Claiborne, that's Kurt Russell. We've seen him running around the plane and everything. Well, they go fishing. They die within the first 20 minutes. Now I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, how does this continue on? And I think to do a show that you already you greenlit for 2 seasons, it's going to be hard when the main character, one of the 2 main characters, is killed off within the first 20 minutes. So now I'm just thinking we're going to have flashbacks. I don't want to do a flashback, but I think they've done it in a wonderful, wonderful way watching the first 3 episodes. What do you think so far? And again, I'm going to get into the reason why I think, but what do you think so far after seeing that?
If we're breaking from episode, if we're gonna break up, we could do that. We could just go from episode to episode. So right now, that's your thought of episode 1, right?
Well, I have no notes, so
I'm neither.
Going all on.
All right,
I'm going all on memory of how it gets from point A to point B.
So if I go based off of the first, as someone, and I'll just a little backstory on me, right? Okay. From New York, born and raised, Alphabet City, Lower East Side, Manhattan, city proper, not all from the city and upstate Binghamton. No. From the city. This comes up because the opening scene here, we have Paige, that's the daughter, right? The main daughter of the family here. And she gets mugged right there on Fifth Avenue. She says Fifth Avenue, right? She tells everybody Fifth Avenue.
In the face, guy takes it away.
Right? You see a guy just filming with his camera. I call BS on this right off the bat for a few reasons for that street. They could have said all kinds of streets, but Fifth Avenue, if you're from the city, then you know this cop's like on almost every corner in their car waiting because it's such a busy street. There's so many businesses, jewelry stores, other high-end stores there. They want to have a presence just so these type of things don't happen. So for this to take place, I was like, all right, fine. I'll look past it. What upset me even more is that after they go and they give a little speech, the mom says, well, why were you walking? You should be in a car. You can't. If anybody knows that shopping here, it's not like a mall where you go and you park in a parking lot garage and then you go in and you're in the mall. No, you have to go on foot. So I don't understand. You can't even park outside. They got the no parking. They have buses. Come on now. That's BS. And it's BS for people that supposedly are from the city. That's what they keep harping on, right? What's that term they use? They're mice. They're mice of the city. That's what they come up with. No, urbanites. We would call ourselves that, but we don't say mice. It's so dumb. Anyway, that was the one part that pissed me off of all this. Just to harp on what they're saying with the whole New York. Another part in the same episode, though, when she does call up Kurt Russell calls her husband, right? Preston. Says he's staying over with his brother to go fishing on another fishing trip on the other side of Montana somewhere, right? Some private area. It's going to be great fishing. She says, oh, yeah, by the way, she was mugged. Where was she mugged? She changes the location. She says, oh, in the village. The village is downtown, doesn't connect to Fifth Avenue. That is 2 different areas. Don't go there. And I felt like the reason why they said that is because, if I say the village and I say down there, it's a mixed bag of people. You got NYU, you got other stuff, you got other communities. You don't need to go there. People know they know. And I think that's what they were saying, implying when they wrote this. It was like, well, you know how diverse, you know the type of people there, And he even said, like, oh, why was she walking? Come on, it's like a car. Oh, please. If you're from the city, you don't drive. I have family relatives that still don't have a license, and they're in their 40s. And there's no need for it.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And someone who lives outside of Detroit, understand not everyone's been to New York. Not everyone wants to go to New York. They just know what they've heard. You want to hit key points that someone's going to be like, oh, I've heard of the village. I've heard of Fifth Avenue.
But it makes it seem like it's if you start and it's bad.
So first off, I've had people ask me outside of Michigan, what is 8 Mile? It's probably the most famous street ever now.
I just know it from Eminem, the movie.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep, and that's what people ask me what 8 Mile is. Everyone in Detroit knows 8 Mile is the road that divides the suburbs from Detroit.
But in the movie, he makes it seem like it's a bad area. Like once you cross over, it's bad. No. That's it. That's what I'm saying. When did you ever hear Fifth Avenue as being bad or the village as being bad? They're implying that it's bad. That's not the case. And that's what I'm saying. That's wrong.
Now you also mentioned about no police officers. She sees a police officer right away and goes over and talks to him.
No, she does when it comes by. Yep.
And they ask questions, and she doesn't want to answer because she doesn't want to stereotype anyone into the race.
You tell them what you see. It's not a stereotype. It's what it is. It's a description.
But she's also saying he was in his 30s, but couldn't tell you what color. And she even says, I don't want to tell you.
That was so dumb. That was whatever. Whatever. They did that. I would not have done that. You say what it is. Whoever it is.
But basically, they're setting up that these are these little prissy little girls. That's how they've been raised.
No, I get that.
Okay. They have been raised like this, and they've allowed it. And that is what we see in episodes 2 and 3, in my opinion.
Oh man, that was those girls, the daughter, and then just that whole, you know, it's also that tier, that prettiness, that high society. I can't stand it. And in any context, I can't see it when I see it for royals, when shows do about the royal. Oh, hello, you know, and I can't see it when we've seen it like Succession and a few other shows. I think that drives me nuts.
Point of it. That's the whole point, right? And we don't know how they earn their money, right? We don't know how he made their money.
No.
He's clearly from.
He doesn't come from money.
He doesn't come from money.
We learned from in episode 3 that they didn't come from money because there was a scene where the wife was Stacy. I think maybe I'm blanking.
Stacy.
Right? It is. Okay. Where she's remembering a time when she was talking to Preston on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, remember when we lived in that small apartment and we ate ramen?"
Yeah, which I forgot to buy ramen somehow when I went shopping this morning.
That's a big fail. Now, exactly. Do you buy the box? We buy the box. We just.
It depends. We buy the box, or I buy the box, and also I buy individuals, whichever one.
Yeah, I love the box. Right? See, but the point is that they bring this up, right? She brings up, so it's like, okay, so you've worked your way up. Where from where I don't know.
She's a city girl, though.
Right, exactly. But if that's the case, then these things carry over. A lot of the things of what makes who you are and the type of person you are carry over to your children. They always say, "Wait, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree," that type of thing. I don't see how this could all be turned off once they started making money. Because as you see these kids, she even calls them like prissy little bitches or something like that. You know, and was it episode 2 when they one of the daughters, the granddaughter, mouthed off at the guy who came over, the cowboy, to bring over some food. Great gesture.
Let's get there, because leading up to this, there's a lot to it. Like, you're getting.
I'm all over the place. We didn't learn notes. That's what I'm saying. I hope.
But okay, but think about it. So they end up dying because they're fishing. He extends it, and then he makes mention earlier about, hey, you know what? Are you sure we don't need to leave? And he was like, no, there's not supposed to be anything. Then his brother tells him, hey, we need to go. So they're in this plane, and it's all rough. The Cessna, and then it crashes.
You're really shocked that they died. You're really shocked that they died.
I'm totally blown away. Like,
there we go. I just realized
they didn't. I mean, there's so many. I don't even want to call them flashbacks, because what they are excerpts in his journal. And when she was talking to him, she knows why he was writing this, because they were having conversations about this. So I guess they are flashbacks, but she remembers the conversations as he was writing the stuff in these journals. And this is very important as we move on.
Yeah. And I think the daughter mentioned that they were married 40 years.
40 years and never fought. Now,
fought. And never went on this trip to visit the brother.
Now that is something where I have somewhat of an issue. But she does constantly talk about how, like, once he gets indoor plumbing, I'll come. And considering there's a hornet's nest in the shitter, or in the French there. Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't addressed. Like, that's one of my that's another gripe. Like,
plenty of things. Get an RV. You know what I mean? Rent an RV, or because it was the closest hotel was in Bozeman, and that was 2 hours out. So I get that, but get an RV then.
But he said that was the closest motel. But who knows if they were looking for just like ones off the side of the road, because they are close to a town. You know, they're not that far from a town.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of resources when it comes to like medical and all that stuff, because
there's no hospital and everything like that. But this is how I assume that it is in these smaller places. So anyway, what you have is she gets the call while they're out to eat. She's with her best friend. She picks up the phone, doesn't know, asking, hey, do we know anyone out here? And then they say, hey, you need to come. You know, we need to identify the body. and she loses it like anyone would, right? Anyone would.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not faulting. The friend picks it up. She doesn't want to be touched. I want to say this is one of the most realistic things because you never know how you're going to handle. Some people want to be hugged. Other people, they don't want to be touched.
It's a shock. It's a shock.
Yes,
I had a friend of mine collapse. I remember they were sitting at their desk and they received a call. And then all of a sudden I look and he just fell on the floor.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? I went running over, picked up the phone. Horrible.
Yeah. Everyone handles things differently. And one thing that you touched on is when they said, hey, they went 40 years, they never fought. Now, I lost my mom when I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. I never saw my parents fight. I'm not saying they never did. I never saw them fight my entire life. And I've had their friends tell me, like, we never saw them fight. A matter of fact, I had my aunt say the one time that I can remember your mom getting mad at your dad, she locked herself in her bedroom. This when they were still in high school. And your dad just sat there and waited for her to calm down and come out. So, to me, that's something that can be realistic. I can't believe that someone can go 40 years without fighting. But, I'm also been single for it seems like 40 years now.
But then when it comes to the two daughters, they're both married, right? Abigail is married to some guy named Dallas.
Abigail is divorced.
Well, she's divorced now, but she had married this guy and has 2 kids. Those are the 2 kids that are there. And then Paige is with her husband, Russell. And he's, part of the conversation here. We don't see Dallas in this, but find out some interesting stuff about him.
I really did enjoy what she said to Dallas when he's like, you took the kids to Montana and she lost it because it's like, well, I didn't know where you were. You you come here and pick them up if that's what you want. My dad is important. And she's absolutely right. And we learn a lot about Dallas and what he asked for in the divorce, which is very, very ballsy. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. What was it? He asked
for spousal support. He asked for the condo.
Yeah. Now
the parents are paying for everything. And we find out at the end of episode 3, she's like, we're done. You guys are done. You find it on your own if that's what.
Yeah, the mom is cutting everybody off.
Because
mom
now
she's cutting everybody off.
Because the other thing is, Paul, the brother, has no one. No next of kin. So everything would have went directly to Preston. But since Preston was passed away, everything goes to Stacy. That means that ranch. We also don't know what they own to be this rich.
Yeah.
Unless if I missed that.
No, they haven't said anything. We sort of heard it early in the episode where Paul sort of implied that he was part of the city life also, because he's like, yeah, I had to give all that up. And ever since I've been out here, I never wanted to go back. And then that's when Preston was like, yeah, I wish but we don't know what type of business they were in.
But he talks about he goes, I don't care about the money because Preston gives that one story about when I think they were in the Hamptons or somewhere, and he's like, I don't care. He's like, let me tell the story.
Yeah. Oh.
And he tells the story these people have nothing. They have everything, but they're miserable.
They spent all their life trying to get the money to get there, and they're old now, and they can't really enjoy it.
And this is what he's experienced. Now, through episode 1, we don't realize everything he has done. No. This is where the shocker thing for me was the things that he has actually done at this place. And it's kind of like the Sixth Sense. You're like, oh my God, it's all right there. And you don't even realize it.
One thing I did like about all this is the cinematography. I love the wide angle shots, the drone shots. You see the beautiful landscape, very Taylor Sheridan. That and the orchestral soundtrack. That's where he contributes, of course, with the writing and all that, but it's just these long drawn out scenes of them fishing and just living it. It could be on the Travel Channel, this show.
And they do a really good job of when they all get there, other than Stacy, who understands I'm going there to identify bodies and pick up my husband and his brother and bury them. They don't want to be there. They're already complaining. Russell's probably the one that complains the least. He's more or less just along for the ride. Now, if you don't know who Russell is, it's Patrick J. Adams. He played in Suits. Now, if you ever watch Suits, it's an amazing show. I'm going to tell you.
That's the one I got mixed up with Zach from Saved by the Bell. Remember?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is it. You're like, no, that was
Franklin and Bash.
There you go. Franklin and Bash. I already forgot that.
But he plays, he almost plays the exact same character if you take away the photographic memory. Like just the way he acts, that he's skittish, like he's really playing that Mike character from Suits, which I don't mind because it fits into what they could have said. Hey, this is Mike, and just changed a few things, and you would have been like, "Yep, this fits." But they go and identify the bodies, and at this point, I'm still like, "There's no way they killed off Kurt Russell's character, Preston. There's no way." And she asked about the bodies and says, which one's which? He said, we don't know. And they uncover it, and it is Paul. And then when she asked the other one, he uncovers it, and this is where she loses it, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, something like, fingerprints wouldn't have worked, and she storms out. Now, at this point, I was like, it's not him. Because why would you say fingerprint? Because that would have eliminated them having to call her and say,
what about a wallet? They must have had their wallet with identification, driver's license.
No, that's what they did. But somebody has to identify the body.
Well, that's what she was arguing with him because of that. She was like, I had some fond memories, and now you're ruining it because now I got to see him in this situation.
And he's like, hey,
I just work here. This is the law.
But then the daughter asked to see. Show me the last thing you showed, and we don't see it. But then we find out, like, okay, she had just lost it. So he really is dead. Because I was thinking, like, it was somebody else that died that they found up there, and that he was still alive. Well,
and it would turn into a whole different type of show, because then we would probably see him trying to make his way back home, and that could have been. Yeah,
at this point, you're just like, all right, they've killed off the main character. They brought in, Matthew Fox. Say what you want. He was one of the main people in Lost. He was the oldest brother in Party of Five, and he's done numerous other things.
Yeah.
He's not a bit character. You don't think like you bring in a big name to kill him off in the first 20 minutes. Now we know Kurt Russell's going to be on it the whole time. You're like, how are you going to do this? And they explain it pretty quickly. So throughout the first step, I'm like, you see her getting more upset because she's realizing how this family is, right?
It's a mess. They're spoiled, all of them, and
they are spoiled beyond. And
they live the sheltered life, and that's the other issue that I had with all of this, is that even in that episode, the first episode, when Stacey was talking with a friend and they were talking about life and friends that moved away, they go to Miami, and I was like, yeah, but this is it. This is where we're from. This is New York and the whole thing. I was like, okay, fine. But then you're not really living the New York experience, because if you're got to go drive everywhere and you don't go to certain areas because you don't want to walk, then what is this? Have you ever been on the Brooklyn Bridge? Did you ever walk that? Did you go to Statue of Liberty?
The thing we find out is Preston is the one. He's like, he can't leave his daughters.
Yeah,
now what we do see is that there's clearly a divide between Abigail and Paige, right? So we see this divide between Abigail and Paige. Now, Abigail, you think like she's the one that has her life more together. Russell, when they were, at dinner before everything, she asked, hey, what did you do after your wife got mugged? Oh, well, we had this going. So you did nothing. You have nothing. Like, she's aggravated. She's aggravated that they're on their phones, that they're not experiencing each other. And let's be honest, we all do it, right?
Yeah.
We all sit there on our phones. All right. I mean, we all went to dinner. Like, we all went to lunch, when I was at a summer required, especially your kids, they sit on their phone.
But Preston, I think he also doesn't like Russell, because I could have swore he wasn't just talking about Dallas because they were already divorced, but he was saying something about, oh, no, forget it. It was Dallas, because he said, I remember when they were talking on the phone and she said, I can't wait till this is all over. And he's like, oh, she's gone from the life. He's like, well, he'll never be gone because they have 2 kids together. So he'll always still be relevant.
There's also another flashback when they're talking where he has a completely different opinion about Dallas. So as we move on, Abigail, she's the only one that's kind of reaching out to her mom, right? She said, I'm going to go for a walk. Hey, do you want some company? That would be great, whatever. So she's the only one. But there is a huge thing at odds when it comes to them. And
a lot of issues there. A lot of issues.
But
go ahead.
No, go on. You were about to say something.
Yeah, no. I was like, all right. So, I mean, that was pretty much how the first episode ended. Because then she was like, hey, I got the book. We're going to go to all these locations that your father loved. This is why he always came out here. It was our fault. We failed him. We never came out here. All the times he offered. Man, 40 years of marriage and you never take, even when they were little, that I just, whatever.
And that's one of those things where I have to say, like, as the father, you should have been like, listen, we're going there.
Exactly. He was too passive.
You don't have to go You don't have to go every single time. But once a year, you're coming here. And you can hack it for a week. Now, the place does have power. Why it doesn't have running water or a toilet, I don't understand. They said something about why they can put a septic system. I don't buy that because you have running water.
Yeah.
They do have a shower.
And the other cowboy friend that shows up in episode 2, the next door neighbor.
Now he lives further down. So how?
Further down. So he has it because he was like, yeah, I have it.
But when she's talking about the book and what they're going to be doing, how we're going to do all of this stuff, we haven't figured out exactly what was going on with the journal. Like we find out in episode 2 and 3 exactly what this journal is and why he was writing the stuff in that journal, because he was talking to her about the stuff and then he was writing it. But he doesn't say that. He's just writing about the journal.
That was kind of crazy too. Yeah, because some of it, it's like he's talking to her, but was he ever going to give her this journal?
No, writing his thoughts down.
Who does that? Is he Mormon? What's going on here?
It is a little weird.
You know what I mean? It's not something people do.
No, in episode 1, there is the foreshadowing.
Unless he's a writer and he owns a publishing company, and then that makes sense because then he could say, "These are my memoirs," and I'm releasing it. Yeah.
Now in the first episode, Russell does say, why would you name someone Russell when the main actor is Kurt Russell? Sorry,
that's why. Just to give a call. I saw that too. I saw that. I was like, oh, he
didn't even dawn on me till just now.
He just did it to like, oh, you know what? I like that name. All right, I'm going to name him Russell.
He says, going to the bathroom is pretty difficult with the hornet's nest. No, they don't really say how big the hornet's nest is, and I was kind of like, why wouldn't that would be one thing you would take care of?
Exactly. You don't just leave it and be like, oh, well, they're going to go away. No, they're not. They're hornets. They're not going away.
They leave it. And so we go into episode 2 or around. We're going to be bouncing around. But this is what
this is it.
Yeah. So what we have here is Abigail says, do you want some company? I'm going to go to these places. And she talks. He wrote in the journal. And he also told her about it. Because I think when he went up to, what did he call it? Stacy's.
It was something with the blonde hair, right?
Yeah, but the way Stacy's Meadow.
Stacy's Meadow.
And he said that for some odd reason, none of the elk graze there, and the grass is yellow. It reminds him of her hair. But I also think he went up there because that's where he could get reception. Because if you notice,
he had to. Yeah. Was that in 2 or 3 where he was talking to her and it was cutting out, or the daughter? He was talking to
I actually think that was in episode 3, but that's kind of what we see.
Yeah.
He found that, I think, while he was trying to get reception. Now remember, Paul, the brother, they do have Wi-Fi. And she makes a comment about not having power, and he says, I didn't say we don't have power. I said there's no outlets. Yeah. Now, I don't think you truly meant there were no outlets. There's just very few outlets because you have to have
your cable modem plugged in for the Wi-Fi to work. So there's got to be.
He has all that food in the refrigerators. They have lights and everything. So there is stuff. There is power. It just sounds like there's not a lot of outlets. And plus, the girls obviously are charging their phones somewhere.
So I'm assuming that he was just out hiking, received the call, And then he was like, I gotta get the high ground because this signal is horrible.
Yeah.
And
so I have a feeling that was one of the places that he would go to talk to her. And obviously it reminded him of her. They would talk. And it's very interesting because I have a feeling everything in this journal that they go to, this is where you're going to see new things come to light. But she decides this is where he's going to be laid to rest. Him and his brother are going to be laid to rest here.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking too, that they were going to go through every part. And once they get there, it would be like a choose your own adventure. Oh, we go over here. Now let me read this part. Oh, wow. In this area here, this is where something happened in his life, or he called us during a special event, a birthday or something. And that's what I just assumed, because we got that in that episode, right? And then she's laying down. Stacy lays down, and she was like, "Oh, I see it." And we get that beautiful shot. A lot of beautiful shots here.
Oh yeah,
of the land. I mean, like I said, this should be on the Travel Channel also. If you want to entice people to go to Montana,
we get them talk about the bears, and says, "I thought there weren't any bears." And she says, like, "Well, they didn't say that there weren't. That they just don't see bears, something like that." But we get Paige, who has to go to the bathroom, and she's very scared. I would be scared too. I'll just say that. Now she doesn't remember.
Were you a Boy Scout? Did you do Boy Scouts?
I made it up to Weeblo.
Oh, Weeblo!
I did Cub Scout, Weeblo, and then I'm like, "Where's my skateboard?"
I see. I was a Boy Scout. I also went camping for the summer up in Bear Mountain. So we learned everything about leaning against a tree, build a ditch, start a fire, all this stuff. And using an outhouse, you had to worry about snakes that would come up and other things that may come out of the.
We do find some stuff out about snakes, right? We do find out some stuff about snakes.
Yeah.
But so she goes there, she's sitting, and then she sees a rat. And she freaks out. Now, as soon as that happens, I'm like,
was it a rat or just a field mouse?
It was rat, a field mouse, whatever it was. Either way, it freaked her out because, you're from New York, and you've told me before that the rats there are the sizes of cats.
They're big, and especially mainly the tail. They have these really long tails.
So maybe that wouldn't have freaked you out as much. Although I didn't understand why anyone's going out barefoot. I'll tell you that much right now. Like, why anyone's going out barefoot.
It's the country. What's the point? I mean, that comes up, I think, in episode 3
when they go for a little hike. I hate being barefoot to begin with. So that's a whole other story. Right?
You got to get the whole bottom callus nice and hard so you don't feel anything. And just
I wear shoes throughout my house. I wear shoes.
I remember walking the streets in New York and seeing people walk barefoot. How do you do that? That's the worst. I mean, you're stepping on gooks, cigarette butts, spit, glass, junk. I mean, I've seen, and these are people with shorts and stuff talking on their cell phone. It's not illegal to walk. It's not illegal. So
I have new shoes that I keep in my house that I walk around in and break them in. And then when it's time to wear them out, I order another pair of shoes. And I usually have a few pairs of shoes that I walk through my house.
Look at that.
I don't like the way it feels on my feet.
Nice.
Again, whole side thing. Anyway, these hornets go nuts and they start stinging her. And she comes running in. Where's the shower? Abigail's laughing at it. And then we have
we got Stacy. She was like, all right, she goes in and like, where is it? She shows her it's in her bum, and then she starts laughing. She was like, all right, well, we're gonna get Benadryl and all stuff. You're assuming this man has all these things in the medicine cabinet.
But I'm under the assumption that Preston has probably said, hey, he has everything, because you have to be prepared. It's not like she's never met Paul. She knows he's got to be a survivalist. He has to have this stuff. At
least then if anything, have a med kit. Have a med kit already. Because he did have the bear spray. Remember, that was
the thing. He may not need a med kit because it's just him. So, hey, I know where everything's at. I don't need a med kit. But you are correct. Now, at this point, I think we skipped over where Abigail and we skipped over where Abigail and Paige went yelling and screaming at each other, talking about yelling and screaming about how because she just wants to leave. Now, Abigail's the only one that's like, hey, you know what? She needs to grieve. We lost a father, and basically we lost an ATM she lost her best friend, and she comes in and
there was a whole argument about that. She couldn't believe that that's all the kids saw him as. They didn't really see him as a father. But whose fault is that?
Okay, first, I didn't take that as Abigail saying like he was just an ATM to us, but she was basically saying like, yes, he was our father, but he was this person that gave us the money. This was her best friend. This was the person she spent every day with. Yes, we're grieving, but her grief is so much worse than ours, and she's absolutely correct.
I think something's up with this character of Preston that we're not seeing. It's just, first, he's too passive, right? We get that already because he never dragged them out there in the 40 years. And later on in the episode, he had talked about, I do everything for my kids, right? Especially the whole Abigail and wanting, Stacey wants to give tough love, cut her off. No, I can't. And she falls down. I pick her up. She's my kid. But in the same respect, it makes it seem like he was never really there. Maybe he's always working because they don't seem like they're particularly close with him. Well, when they found out he died, where's all the tears and stuff? Like, father, none of that.
Well, no, they didn't show when they found out. They only showed when Stacey found out.
That's what I'm saying. But then you see how they're acting here, and it doesn't seem like they're really remorseful about the whole thing. It's like, I can't believe we lost Sad. And then that's why the mom comes in and was like, if you think he's only here to just do all this stuff, you didn't really know him. You didn't give a shit, blah, blah, blah.
Well, no, but again, they're also dealing with the grief in their own way. And that again, you don't know how long they got to get on a plane. They got to get out there. You have time to cry stuff out. It doesn't mean you're going to cry because they haven't seen it. Now, Abigail is already dealing with the fact that she says, hey, the last thing that I said to him was, I'll pay you back when I can. And Stacey says, what did he say to you? I wouldn't accept it even if you did. Because she thinks, like I was his biggest, she said I was his biggest disappointment. Let's be honest. Paige is a much bigger disappointment.
There's a lot. This whole family, like that's the other shit. I don't really feel a connection to any of these characters. Like I don't feel like, I want to see a turnaround in Abigail, or I hope things work out with Stacey. I don't.
So as she's reading the journal, she's starting to see stuff. Now she goes in to find out about the first off, the neighbor comes over. Right? Yeah. First off, the neighbor is just talking to the kids. Now, again, you're from New York. I'm from the Detroit area. Don't talk to my kids, right? Like
the kids should know not to talk to strangers. Yes. Once they start talking, they just walk away. Like, nah, it's all right.
But there's nowhere for them to go, and they were they were shocked.
Yeah.
But here we're out in the country, and they find a horseshoe and just says, "Hey, that's good luck. You hang it over, right?" Again, probably not how if you're in Michigan. Or especially the Detroit area, not how you approach a kid. All right.
Well, he did ask for their folks. He did say, "Where your family? Yeah. Where's your parents?" I mean, it's not like, "Hey, you want to hang out?"
No, like, but I'm saying like he approaches, and again, you're also out in the country, and I'm assuming that's probably the only place he's ever lived, right? Now he brings them food and he explains who he is. Now everyone else is very apprehensive, except for Stacey, who's kind of like, well. She probably knew he had neighbors. Now, they're probably a mile or so away, but he's not as secluded as at first it made it seem.
He mentioned Preston by name also. So it wasn't like, Paul, okay, you could overhear the guy. But then, Preston, the brother. Yeah, I know. And, and we heard what happened. And it's like, and I mean, he had a tub of food. Who carries all this? You know what I mean? So
and it wasn't just made by his wife. It was made by people.
Yeah, others in the community in that area, and that was really nice.
And so this is where they're getting, again, whoever wrote this is into, like, you can tell they hate political correctness because he calls it the Indian pie, right?
No, Indian taco.
Indian, okay.
Yep.
Which I'm sorry, I went.
But they call it that. That was what he said.
Well, first off, I wasn't talking about the Indian. I was like the Indian taco. Sorry, I've been single way too long, and I get different thoughts in my mind.
Whoa!
And then when the youngest granddaughter, she says, "You can't say that," and he says, "Well, that's what the Indians call it."
Yeah.
And then we find out later on, because when Stacy sees her, she's like, wait till they meet his wife.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
clearly
That was a whole other
she's Native American is what is
mm-hmm.
is what we're meant to believe, whether she's not is in real life or not. But I didn't seem to me, it didn't seem like he got offended. But Stacy went over and said, "Hey."
Yeah, she definitely took it further. I didn't get that vibe either.
I didn't
because
either.
it didn't linger on.
He says, "Well, when you have an 11-year-old, they'll say," and he goes, "I do." And that's when I kind of got like, did he walk away mad? Because I didn't get the feeling that he walked out.
No,
but
because it didn't happen right after that. They kept talking about the other foods and other things. It was like, hey, if you ever need anything, let me know the whole thing. I mean, he went on about it. It wasn't like, what? All right, I gotta go.
And you're right. The kids are in this real posh, like, what is this? What is that? Is that gluten free? It's like this was made from the soil. Like this is stuff. She's absolutely right when she says, people have been eating breads forever. It's the preservatives we put in it that make it bad.
Yeah.
Right.
That was during another conversation during, I think, breakfast or something like that when they were talking about all the foods.
If you remember,
Abigail spitting the wisdom that was.
Russell makes the meat, and he's like, I don't think it's meat, and she's like, no, it's elk. And he's like, don't say.
But it tastes like venison. It has gamey. It tastes gamey. I've had deer, and
why is that a big deal?
It's not a big deal.
It's not like when it said it was human ass.
Like, exactly. It's not like it's human. Right? It's like it's cannibalism.
This isn't alive.
Oh man.
But she loses it. Paige loses it, and Abigail, she's there for the ride. Like she's enjoying it. But the one thing that so after she gets her ass stung. Right. And Russell says, I said there was a hornet's nest. You guys all heard it, right? And Stacy, I think it was either Stacy or Abigail that said, yeah, I don't think that's going to cut it.
No. Yeah, they were upset. She was upset at him, blamed him for everything. He eventually went out there. He got stung in the eye.
Okay, so I thought that was kind of ridiculous because I guess if you've never had to taken care of a bee's nest, that maybe you do that. But first off, why would you go out where the bees are flying? Like you wait for them to calm down.
Either that or cover yourself up. You know where you're going.
Well, he went out without shoes.
Well, still over your face, cover something. Wrap a shirt around.
Without shoes again, and again he ends up getting stung, but he's so proud because he actually feels like he took care of it. Although we see Stacy go out there and make sure afterwards.
I don't know.
But this is where, like, Paige is like saying, hey, you know what? You're never going to see this again. And, she has to get up into the loft. So, and she's like, hey, it's either you do it down here or in the loft. Fine, I'll go upstairs. And then the neighbor is the one that says, hey, mix this, put it on.
Baking powder with water, and even if they go to a medical facility, it's going to say they're going to
do the same thing.
Same thing.
They're like, how far is it? But we also find out that Paige got stung in other spots.
Yeah.
Which I can kind of understand why she'd be extremely.
Oh yeah, no. What if she had? This is probably the first time she's ever been stung by a hornet. What if she gets an allergic reaction? There's all kinds of things that could happen.
Oh yeah, if you don't know, and bee stings are one of those things you don't know if you're allergic to bee stings until you get stung.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things we find out, Stacy, that's the cowboy friend for a funeral home. She needs some information because she got to bury them, and it sounds like she's going to do that there on the property. That's where they want to stay, or they want to live. An afterlife. Then so be it. Going to do everything there.
Now, Abigail is the one that is very supportive of everything that she's doing to a point. But she also talks about where she wants to bury them, and they say, well, you have to reach out, you have to talk to somebody about doing it. But understand that if you ever sell that land, they can do whatever they want. They will exhume the bodies and probably just cremate them.
Yeah, so I would think she knows this because she was like, "Oh yeah, I should get a lawyer to figure all this out." But I mean,
no. He said you don't need a lawyer, but And then when he starts saying that, she goes, a lawyer. He gives her a card. I thought this was where Beth was going to come in.
Oh, she's above this. Unless this is her new job. It's possible.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like these are rich people. And I thought maybe this way, hey, if you have an issue, maybe this is, but they never say who it is. But I don't think it has.
We don't even see, we don't see the card.
Yeah, they don't touch anything on anyone from Yellowstone, which I'm perfectly fine.
What is it? They called the stream Yellowstone Trout.
So yeah,
that's what they call it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the only reference to Yellowstone that we get, other than it's in Montana.
That was it. But yeah, that was over at the funeral home, right? So this is the plan, and I think we all know this. It's like, if you sell the land and they find out that there's a cemetery there, they don't have to respect that. They can just dig it up and like, no, we don't want a cemetery of dead people we don't know. But
as she's reading this journal, this is where she's coming to the conclusion of what she wants to do. Now it seems like a pretty quick conclusion because they're not there very long.
No,
right? But and this is when she borrowed the truck, she took the rental. They come back. Basically, they get in a fight about it because she took it, and she's like, "Hey, when I'm paying for everything." And then the next day was when she calls the neighbor, who is Cade.
Yeah, Cade.
Says, hey, can you take me to pick up the truck? Pick up Paul's truck because it's all hers now, right?
Yeah, it's all hers. She just has to bring, and I guess that also helped out going to the funeral home because she obtained the death certificate.
Yes,
for Paul. So then we should bring.
And it seems like they're like, yeah, but we need the death certificate. Like, what a horrible thing! Like once again, you have to pull the stuff out. And then
she had both of them. She also had her husband. She handed the wrong one. I'm assuming that was Preston's that she handed, and then it's like, oh wait, no, it's not that one, and it's got this other one, and the lady was nice. She's like, what was it? She said, we're praying for you, or something like that, or she said something trying to uplift her. She's like, it's not working. It's not happening. None of this is happening.
But when she gets in the truck, there's like 2 coffee cups, and she gets really mad about the coffee cups. Like, and I couldn't tell if that's because like she assumed that the cops, when they drove it there, maybe drank coffee in it.
No. I think this is just another moment that it's triggering of memories of Paul and her husband.
But they didn't show anything. That's why I was a little confused on that. But anyway,
flashback with all that,
And then she sees there's a gun in it, and again, not really surprising. You live where there's bears and other animals. We've all seen Yellowstone. I mean, for someone to have a gun like that, and it's a pistol, it's not a rifle. It makes sense. But
one before we even go further, there was one important scene that happened all here, because then we do see the other officer, the sheriff or deputy or whatever. Remember that came over to the cowboy guy on the side and said, "Hey,
Van Davis."
Yeah, and he said, I want to come by the house and see the horse and ride the horse. Like, yeah, you could come by if you could do this. And I was like, okay, that's what's going on there. But they introduced him because he plays a big part in episode 3.
I think he's going to play a big part
later in that episode.
They already set up a love interest. Like, again, you guys have all seen this, or you're not. You're listening to us just kind of talk about it. Hopefully, it gives you an idea to go, hey, you know what? I need to go watch this.
Very the Brady Bunch vibes I got from when he did Story, and because isn't that the same age of her 2 kids, 11 and 14?
At least 11. Yeah, they're about the same.
Definitely 11 for the youngest one, the smarty pants.
Like everyone had kids around that same time.
And the same situation, but so she gets in the.
But Stacy does say something like, "Hey, you're stoned in for 6 months. What else to do?" And he's like, "Exactly."
Yeah. It's true, because that was because the cowboy has it, and then also the deputy sheriff, whatever. I don't remember his title.
Who?
Right? The cop, the one that Abigail starts hanging out with.
He's a deputy.
Deputy. Okay, deputy. Okay.
Yeah, these are sheriffs. You're not gonna have police force down there. You're gonna have sheriffs.
Yep. Okay.
So we do see a flashback because now we're focusing on Abigail. Like, there's a lot of focus on Abigail, and we see Preston and Stacy in a bathtub, and they're talking, and he's, they're talking about the divorce and everything. And this is where he says, Dallas, well, he's always been good to the kids. He's a good guy, but he wants spousal support, and so this is where we find out, like, they're paying for everything.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, like,
but he laughs because both of them don't work. Abigail does not work. So it's not like and it sounds like Dallas also didn't have a job.
Yeah, he was a struggling actor.
So really struggling if you're acting in New York. You go to California for that. Come on now. Wrong place, buddy.
But then he talks about how he feels about it. It clearly, like, I hate to say it, you can tell this is his baby, even though she's the oldest. And he says, she has no drive. She can't do anything. We have to do this the rest of her life, or else she's going to fail.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. Like, that's
tough love.
This is just who she is. Yes. And Stacy's the one that wants it, but Preston is the one who is pressing against it. And that is one of the worst things that you can do, because you're not allowing them. But she's going to move back in with them. And the reason why we're seeing this is because at the end of episode 3, Stacy tells them, this is what I'm doing, whether you like it or not. And you guys are on your own if you don't want to stay here with me.
No, that was episode 2.
Was that
episode 2, because episode 3 is where we see Abigail hanging out with Deputy and having a good old time, and things are getting different. We got to episode 2 at the end when she was like, you know what, this is what's happening, because she did the whole thing with the funeral home. I'm going to be buried here. I'm selling the townhouse, right? We're going to set things in a trust. Everything is staying here.
No, because remember what set that into motion. This is what sold me on this whole. This is what sold me. So she's reading the journal. Now, I hope you're staying this long. This was the whole purpose I wanted to do this. She's reading the journal, and he says it snowed, and now it's already gone. Now I live in Michigan. That's how it feels like sometimes. It was in the 60s today. It's supposed to be in the 30s tomorrow, and I think get into the teens, and then whatever. This is Michigan, right? Yeah. But he said, "Hey, it snowed. What do 2 40-year-olds do when it snows? You go outside and you make a snowman as big as a Tahoe. Now there's not even not a sign of it." But he starts going on about
they drank a lot. They drank like 24 beers because they did a 12-pack, and then later on they watched it melt, and another one. And then I called BS on this one. This one got me upset also, because then he was like, "Oh, I never let my kids in. We didn't have a backyard. They never went and built a snowman or did anything." Like, that's a lie. You can go to Central Park. You can go to any park.
But if you didn't take them there, if there wasn't a place for them to go out in the back and do it, if you didn't take them there.
So then he wasn't a father to them. He can't complain about it if he wasn't there. If that's the case, he didn't say it that way. He made it seem like the reason was because he didn't have a backyard to do it.
Well, they could just go out and do it on their own, right? That's mostly. Hey, again, I didn't grow up in New York. For me, we went across the street. I lived in condos. We went across the street in the backyard, and we made snowmen or on the side of the house. You can't do that in New York if you're living directly in the city. Not like you said, you can go somewhere, but you have to go there with your parents, and if your parents don't take you for whatever reason.
It's just that it's doable. It makes it seem like, we just can't do it. Well, they never happened. I'm a bad dad. Then it's on you. You're a slacker dad.
But during this whole thing, he's talking about what his dream is. And my dream is, hey, you know what? They have their own little place. We have our own place. And this is where Stacy starts noticing things. Because she kept getting mad that, like, he couldn't do certain things around the house, like change the curtains, but you can go check on these cabins. Why are there 3 cabins there?
Right.
The brother didn't have people over.
All right. So here, answer this one then. Because one of the cabins had a bunch of toys, right? Because wasn't that the thing? The girls are sleeping in the cabin. It's like, oh, yeah, what's in that cabin? Because Stacy didn't go in. It's like, oh, it's a bunch of toy stuff. She goes running over there. And it's like,
Abigail comes over.
Yeah, he built this for you guys. I call BS on that too. Really?
No. He was when he went out there, him and his brother were building these cabins for them to come and visit. They refused to ever come there.
That's what I'm saying.
His brother had his own cabin. The other cabin that Stacy was staying in, because that was Preston's cabin, was probably all set up perfect for everything Stacy wanted. He was buying toys, buying games, because that's where the kids would stay. So his dream would be when they go and visit, the girls would have their own cabin. All right. Paul, he obviously it's his land. He has his own cabin, and then Stacy and Preston are going to have their own cabin.
See, and that's what I'm saying. All these years, and you don't force them to come and say, "Listen, we build cabins," and he was sending pictures because remember there was a few times where he was doing the FaceTime and he's showing pictures. Look
because
at where
there
I'm
were
at.
cabins. She didn't know what the cabins were for. Was it? She's assuming that they're Paul's cabins. Paul needs help building this. Paul needs help with this. And she was like, hey, if you just told me you want to go drink with your brother, I'd be okay. Yeah. But you use this whole fishing thing, right? And he had a reason. But this is where she realizes, oh my God, he has been building this for years because the girls are no longer kids. But all those toys, they were all older board games. They were all older toys.
Yeah.
They weren't modern classified G.I. Joe stuff. It was all older stuff.
I just can't believe that to do all that. Think about it. If that was you, if you built all this and they're like, I still don't want to know. You are getting in the car. You're getting on the plane. We are going. And you're going to see what I did.
But we haven't fully seen how his character is. He's a very passive guy. And I think he wanted them to say, you know what? Let's go see this rather than him force them. Because we already see how they would have acted. Now maybe they wouldn't.
I mean, just the fact that they even got to this point, it just shows too much. I don't know. We need more on his story, and hopefully we'll get more of that later on. What he does for a living, how this all came about. I need more.
She calls her friend to come out. So I'm assuming in episode 4, we're going to see her friend showing up there.
She said it's something very useful that a lot of people would say. It's like, you're friends, right? We're friends. You're a really good friend. Prove you're a good friend. All right, come out here. That's how you know if you're really, because it's going to be serious. You're coming out to Montana.
So there are a few issues here. All right. And this is where she, where she says we've raised these little bitches. Yeah. And Abigail storms after her and says, those are not your kids. And she's like, I wasn't talking about them. Although in a roundabout way she was. But I also understand where she was coming from, right? Yeah. She is coming from a point of, wow, we raised these bitches, and now they're raising other little bitches. And she's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But after that, after she sees what these cabins were made, this is when, in my opinion, she made that decision. This is where I'm going to move. But my problem is she's looking into what the schooling is like. You can't just decide that you're going to uproot those kids. And as somebody now she says, I'm selling the condo. It's being put in a trust that this land will always stay in our family through this trust.
Can never sell it.
Dallas is on his own. I'm selling it. Like, screw him. Now, first off, I would have said that a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, you're not getting spousal support where my daughter isn't even the breadwinner. We don't fully get, because clearly Russell he has his own.
He's got some kind of business. It's something about shipping, because remember he had talked about buying some shipping container that can move goods.
Was that money through them? Did they maybe finance that? Did they,
what if he works for the family business? You're right. We don't know. Maybe that is a family business, shipping.
So
we don't know. That never comes up. In fact, if I wonder how big this company is, because usually, and we've seen other shows when something like this happens, even Secession and stuff like that. The kids, they meet with the board, they start talking, figuring out who's the next in command, who's handling transactions, stuff. That doesn't come up. This has all been about,
and it might just be privately owned.
It could be.
But when they go in and they pick up the truck, they get in, Abigail and Stacy get in a huge fight. And she's like, you just let me out right here. And Stacy does. Now, Cade sees it, and that's when he calls for the sheriff. The sheriff,
deputy,
hey, I need you to pick someone up, because remember he's in front, so he just sees that she's stopped. Clearly, she's not getting back. Now, why Stacy starts asking later on, "Where's your mom at?" And she's like, "I need to go find her." Like, wait a minute, how long did you leave her out there for?
It's at night. It wasn't
at night when she jumps him off, though.
No, but she assumed it was going to take a while for her to walk back.
Well, she doesn't even know how to get there. And the funny part is when she's on the phone and she's like, "What if I rent 2 cars and you have 2 people driving one out here?"
She couldn't get a rental. Yeah. Now the other thing is, I mean, if she's modern in the whole thing in this area, I'm sure they're probably an Uber system still. It's present day, from what I understand, right? This was
but how do you tell someone where you're at?
You tell them on the highway. She's the only person walking. It was like, yeah, you could easily say, like, my car broke down. I'm on, this highway. Where are you? I'm the only person out here. And then when the deputy shows up, he even says it. He's like, this is illegal for you to be out here.
Yeah, and even in Montana, where there's no one around and there's a pretty girl walking down the street, they don't even want to pick up hitchhikers because they just
deputy. Maybe it's me. It's not like he had a Canadian accent. He had some kind of Canadian accent. I was like, oh, we got a Canuck over here. Something about it. I don't know what it was, but I heard a little.
Oh, there was something.
There was definitely something.
Let's see if I can see where he's from.
Because we already talked about the location, Montana, and all that. But yeah, he picks him.
He was born in New York, so
what? Shenanigans. Then he's putting on the accent. Then he's putting on this accent, and it's coming off Canadian. Like whatever he's trying to put. I don't even know if people in Montana have an accent. I haven't heard it. So
what we do is he picks her up. He ends up going to Cade's to see the horse. We see the kids, and they're no different than every other kid that has a big yard.
Yeah.
One's playing with a snake. Leave the snake alone. That one's riding a horse. And
it's at night.
Yeah, well, and this is where Stacy finally goes and checks and sees where Abigail is at. And we also find out she's in trouble when they use her full name. When they say Abby, she's fine. But then there's Abigail. That's when something bad has happened.
That's usually how it is. When they use my grandmother, when she would say the first and last name and call you into you were in trouble.
But I feel like that was just kind of emphasized. So she starts freaking out, and the kids are like, no, she's at the neighbor's house. What? Oh yeah, she's been there for a couple hours, whatever. So she called to let them know, hey, I'm okay. I was picked up by the sheriffs, to drop us off. Grandma kicked me out of the car. And Grandma says, no, she asked to get out of the car. Technically, Stacy is right. She did ask to get out of the car. But technically, we kicked her out.
What's deputy's name? It sounded like you had it up front. That you saw it. What's the character name?
Van Davis.
Van Davis, that's his character. All right, because
his first name is Van, his last name is Davis.
Van. All right, so it's Deputy Van. All right, because that's why I brought the Brady Bunch, because when they're sitting there just bonding and talking about their life, he mentions that he has 2 kids. Right, yep, one's 11, the other one's 14. 2 boys. She has 2 girls. Right, we know one's 11. Don't know what the other one, but I'm sure it's
roughly around that age.
Yeah. Roughly around that age. And says that his wife passed away, ATV accident. It tipped over, fell on her, right? So that's horrible there. And what about you? Oh, divorced, and there goes that. So the Brady Bunch, it just seems like it's going to work. Like this is it. They're going to get together and they're going to have their families.
Well, this is their first sign of showing that, hey, there might be a reason for me to be here. No, this would be a culture shock. I couldn't move to Montana out of suburbs of Detroit and be like, wow. I mean, you moved from New York to Des Moines.
Yeah. Well, it was a long process.
Yeah, Des Moines it's a real city, but I was there. It's not the size of even like one of the some of the bigger.
No. Yeah, it's always funny. I remember one time there was a guy in the subway train, and he saw me wearing an Iowa shirt, and I was with my wife, and he came over. I was like, "Oh man, what part?" apart. And I was like, oh, there's a Des Moines. He's like, oh, the big city. And then he got off, and I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? We're currently in the big city. I don't consider Des Moines the big city, but the way he said it, I was like, are you city folk? I'm like, you're telling me this on the R train in Manhattan? What's wrong with you? But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, that was an interesting one thing we didn't get into, but it was also kind of funny. There was a fight that happened earlier that day. Remember, it was Abigail and Paige, and they really went at it. Like they were fighting, fist fighting, throwing punches, breaking everything.
Glasses.
Yeah, they made a mess. The mom came and cleaned all this up. So there's already that picture.
But that's what she tells them. You are going to clean this up, unlike my condo in New York.
Exactly. Well, we have the help.
Yeah, but that's clearly like
pretty much.
This was what we didn't make you do when we should have.
Yeah,
we didn't make you do this stuff.
They didn't have to do anything. I mean, this is the same situation we hear, and I don't like to bring it up because it's sad, but a lot of these celebrities and their kids, and then we hear tragic things happen when these kids grow up to be adults, fall apart. Why is that? Why can't they follow in their parents' footsteps? Because they didn't have to, work for anything. They didn't have to hustle for it, whether it's sports or, acting or business. Everything was handed that. And it's, what do you want to do? What do they always say? When you get to a certain point, you want to do everything you can for your kids. That's what we're told to do, right? You want to give what you can, what you didn't have. That's the problem. Where is that point? Some people don't know that point and then just leave the checkbook open and like go go have fun. Then the kid's like, then why do I have to work? Why do I have to go to school? I'm rich. We're wealthy. Yeah, exactly. It's like I could do whatever. I'm gonna do this line of blow now. Thanks, Dad. It's like what? And it falls apart. And that's why there is no point. There is no listen, you need to earn for yourself. This builds character. This turns you into an individual. And we're not seeing that because that was the thing that person said about Abigail. He's like, she can't do anything for herself. And that's on them. He said that's on them. We never had her do anything for herself. So we can't just like that was when they were doing the tub scene. And he's like, no, I can't. Sorry. Can't do it. We gotta let her. We have to be there till the end.
Understand this. If I'm sitting naked in a tub with my wife or girlfriend or some hot girl, and say what you want, Michelle Pfeiffer is still hot. I'm not talking about my daughter. All right.
They could have already had the party. That party.
I don't care. All right.
Now they're just free flowing it. They're like, okay, now we can talk about this. But
at the end of the episode, she says what she's doing.
Yeah.
This is my home now. And it seems like maybe this would be a fast thing. Be like, wait a minute, you're just gonna uproot everything. But reading these journals is where she realizes he's always wanted them to not even live there, but come visit, and they couldn't even do that. And she says, "Hey,
that's so sad.
This is where they're being buried. I will be buried here. If you guys want to, you can be buried here, but you don't have to be. All right." The condo's being sold. It's going to be put in a trust. So this place will always remain in our family. So and basically like this is what's going to pay for this. So if you guys aren't paying for it, something is going to be paying for it. So no one will uproot this here. This will never be sold.
So is this going to be the show? Is this like City Slickers or Beverly Hillbillies? Like, are we bringing these people over into this environment and now try to retrofit? It's like, oh, they're going to adjust. I don't see the son-in-law staying here because that way he's going to give up whatever his job.
Well, that could be your controversy right there that he doesn't want to, or maybe he's the one who's like, hey, I kind of like this, and Paige is the one that doesn't. I mean, Paige is concerned that, hey, oh man, my ass is bigger because of things. Do you think it will be forever? Like, are you that stupid?
Well, that's what he was saying. He was like, who knows? I mean, yeah, they tried to have their little moment with whole thing.
I'm sorry. That guy should have asked for a divorce a long time ago.
Yeah, that was
no matter what he does, he's wrong.
But the one thing Abigail does bring up is like, yeah, it looks nice now, but we talked about it before. Once the winter comes, who's going to shovel? Who's going to do this? She can still hire somebody. She's still got money. This isn't like remote to the point that she can't get people to work the land for her. She can still do that.
You can rent out the cabins throughout the years. They're not going to be living there.
Oh, she could build more cabins. We don't know the size of the land that she owns. Because remember, that was the other
large. Thing. I mean, if she had to go find Stacy's meadow, right? There's a good amount of space.
Is that his land or is that open land?
No, that's his land because
that's still his land.
She asked about putting it there and said, "Yeah, but if you sell it."
You know, it would have been fun if we saw a sign like off in the distance, a property of the Yellowstone, Dutton family. Because remember when they had their borders. Because even though when they sell it, I mean, you still have to. They didn't have fences, but they said that they had poles, or whatever, that would say where, so you knew you were on private land.
If you do remember, that was one of the conditions when they sold the Dutton Ranch, was that the cemetery has to stay there.
Did it?
Yes, that was one of the conditions, that the cemetery has to stay there. Because don't you remember there was kids that went over and started knocking it over?
Oh yes.
Mo that went over there.
That's right. They were pushing over the tombstones, and he was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No. This stays here. We fix this. Put this. This is staying." Yeah, right.
Pick it up. Mo picked them. I think it was Mo picked them all up. I would have been like, no, you little bastard! You come up here and you pick up this tombstone. It's a lot easier to get them down than get them back up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
But so if she gives it, her friend is coming in, so we're gonna see her friend come in. I wasn't sold on it after the first episode.
I wasn't sold on it after the third episode. There we go.
Luckily, there's only 3 more in this season, and we don't have to.
No, we could keep going because it's so short. It's so short. We could do another one like this, and just because we did say we wanted to cover this. We like Taylor Sheridan. We like his shows, what he produces. So we appreciate the writing and the work that's involved in it. Kept saying this. I looked. It said executive producer again. And it said from the creator. It didn't say he wrote the script. I was looking to find
out. I mean, I have not watched any of the Walking Dead spinoffs. After there was
Gimbal,
the first 2.
I forgot his first name, but his last name Gimbal. There is a writer. It's not.
Yeah, but doesn't Kirkman still get executive producer? Because
that's a good question.
Because stories created by him.
For The Walking Dead, he gets executive. Well, he gets created by. World created by Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman.
But he's still under contract. You remember it?
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure he's getting a cut.
Still under contract. I think. What's his face? Kirkman. He was. I don't know if he was let go or wasn't retained or whatever. They own the rights to it. That's why he killed the comic, because he's like, screw you guys.
Well, actually, I don't know if that's true or not. No, that wasn't true. He was just running its course. Originally, there was never an ending, and when it ended, I remember because I used to read
number 98. Number 98. He needed 100. He's like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, and I got it, and I'm like, okay, I'm reading, and I was like, and I was like, wait, what the hell? Because it did a huge time jump, and we got to see Carl older and everything. I was like, oh wow.
I feel like Kirkman had just finished watching Forrest Gump, where he just gets done running. He's like, I'm done running. Yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm done writing. I'm done.
I think it was around this time that he had all these other projects announced with Amazon. Invincible was coming over and stuff like that. And I think maybe he was like, let's just end this so I could focus more on other projects. He's got other comic series that he's working on and stuff. So
he can always come back to the Walking Dead comic world if he wanted to. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I was very disappointed. 20 minutes into it. I told you, for me, I thought it was extremely sad. Like, wait a minute, like they just lost everything. But now we're seeing how they pick everything up, and we're seeing why she feels the way she does to stay there. And again, I think we've all watched episode 3 of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, and we're all like, wait a minute, so he just turned to the dark side that quickly? It's kind of stupid. She's reading the journals. She's reading, and again, you would assume she's probably read more of it. But now,
more is going to come out. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens when the friend shows up.
Yeah, for me, it was figuring out the cabins. Like, this was my cabin. That was the girl's cabin. So how long had those cabins been around? Because it was clearly when they were kids.
Yeah. So I guess this is the life. We'll see how this goes, because now that's the whole thing, right? What this is all about, the family. Will they stay? How they're adjusting to the whole thing. Is this going to be what was it? Another little cool. Was it in the barn up top that they had a pool table and a pinball machine and some other stuff?
The pinball machine that no one knows. Come on, who doesn't know?
Are you serious?
Especially Russell. Russell, you ain't that young.
Russell, right? Yeah. Oh my lord, that was like, or when they were talking about what's it, the Egypt and the Sphinx or something to that effect during the meal, and like, what's that? What's the? I thought you were super smart. These kids. What are you talking about? You don't know history and.
I do like the relationship between Russell and the two little girls. Because, Paige goes off how, like, I'm basically their mom. I take him here, I take them there. But
well, one thing, and then we'll just close out. But with what's his name? The cowboy's wife, right? When she did talk about the school, she was like, well, it's a small community. Yeah, it's a small community, so all the kids are in one cabin, different rows. They keep it old school, and then so the young ones have questions, and then the older ones get accustomed to handling young ones, and how that works. So I'm wondering if we're going to see this happen with the kids, with Abigail's kids, and they're like, oh, you know what? While you're out here, we're gonna put you in for some classes. Are we gonna do that?
Yeah, and again, because the kids are asked, like, wondering, like, hey, when are we leaving? And she basically says, you guys want to leave, go, but just know this. This is what I'm doing, so you better get your affairs in order because you ain't gonna have these places much longer.
She makes him, and that's the crazy part with all this. I can understand Stacy saying, "I want to stay here." You mean stay like right now, like you're never leaving, or like let me go back, let me finish my affairs, let's get things in order, let's close things out, and then I'm going to move my stuff here.
But
I don't think so. I think she makes it seem like no, that's it.
But she says, "I'm not going to love again."
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm never gonna love again.
She basically makes it clear, like, I don't want anyone else. I want to see everything he always wanted me to come see. Yeah. Everything in this journal I want to experience because this is the only thing I have left of him.
Well, it says he was 64 also, right? I think that was 64. 65? Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, and what about you people? What do you think? Do you like the Madison? Which is the name of this ranch area. So for those wondering, that's not their surname here. Do you like it? Are you watching? Exactly. There we go. It's like, oh man, all right, where do you like the show? Are you going to keep watching it? It's definitely different than Marshall's. I saw a lot of people like, Taylor's Shirt and Property. Like, oh, I can't wait for this. Well, now we've seen it. It's not a direct spin-off or even connected in any way besides the Montana. Are you into it? Yeah, at least as we've seen yet. Is this what you wanted? This is what you expect? Are you going to keep watching? It's not a hard watch because there's only 3 more episodes, and then that's it. So I don't see why not watch it. But who knows? Let us know in the comments. Let us know. If not, then whatever. Then you're not going to watch it.
We'll know by reviews.
Anyway. Right, well, no, exactly. All right, everybody. Thanks again for sticking with us. By the time you see this, you'll already see, and I'll put a little end screen. You'll see Marshall's episode 3 is out. Road to Nowhere. That was a fun one. It was a fun one. So go check that out if you want some more action instead of all this drama here.
This review might be a road to nowhere for all we know.
Exactly. This could be a road to nowhere. We got like 5 people, 1 thumbs up. They're like, yay. All right. Talk to you later.
Take care.